Hey guys, my name's Keyan Houshmand, and not so long after their last release, MLSoundLab have released another plugin for you guys called the Super Duper. Let's have a look. Quick disclaimer again, if you don't already know, I am on the beta testing team for this plugin. However, I didn't really get to play with it straight away. As soon as Miko sent this plugin to all the beta testing guys, I being one of them, I was super bogged down by all this uni work, and I just finished a 2-week period where I've had exams, which is probably why I haven't uploaded in nearly 2 weeks now, but all that's over so we can get straight into all the good stuff again. I will say that this is probably my favorite release from MLSoundLab so far. I'm not gonna lie, as soon as I plugged this in and started playing through it, I could not believe it. It was absolutely insane. Everything from the different channels to the sounds to just the cab that was included. Like, it is the perfect all in the box solution for modern metal tone. It's crazy. As always, if you guys like this video at any time, please feel free to leave a like and a comment on anything you see or hear. And if you want to see more of this stuff, definitely subscribe, because I will be doing more of this stuff more often. If you guys want the processed stems for this song, the guitar tabs, as well as the unprocessed DI for guitar, bass, and drums, definitely hit up the Patreon. I'll leave a link in the description. For now, let's just see how it sounds like in a mix. So here it is. This is the amped Super Duper plugin from MLSoundLab. Now, if you've used the other ones from MLSoundLab, like the amped Roots and the amped Arc, you'll notice that it's a very similar layout and you'll probably be able to navigate it fairly simply. So if you haven't used any of the amped line of plugins, it's fairly straightforward. You've got the amp section here with 2 different amps. Obviously, you have the Super and then the Duper. A bunch of presets for each amp. They're not the same across, they're a bit different. Then you got your pedal board, which includes a noise gate, a drive, a delay, and a reverb, as well as license manager, whatever. And as you can see, there is no cab section. That's because it comes with a proprietary IR. As you can see here, you can either choose to have it engaged or flick it off, or choose to load your own IRs. Now for this one, I'm just gonna keep the cab section on all the time, so you guys get a fair representation of what you get when you get the plugin yourself without using external IRs. Right here is the preset that I made using the Duper amp, and as you can tell, it sounds absolutely immense. So just to go through this quickly, and then I'll do like a little overview of the rest of the plugin. So starting with the pedal board, we have the noise gate engaged, obviously, to get everything nice and tight, as well as the drive on, tone all the way up, level all the way up, drive all the way off. That's generally how I like to set my overdrive pedals. And then as you can see, input I haven't touched, effects section is on. What this switch does is if you have it off, even though all these are engaged here, it's not actually doing anything. You have to flick it on there and then it engages. So if you've watched the channel before, you notice that I don't really set the gain this high. However, for this instance, I felt like the amp needed it, and it really suits the playing as well. Generally, I'd set it at somewhere like around here on another plugin, but just chokes off a little bit too much. So having it there thickens it up really nicely without overpowering it. Bass I've pushed up just a tiny little bit. Mids I've pushed up quite substantially because I like having a lot of mids in my tone, typical modern metal tone. Treble just to make it a little bit more brighter. Depth, now this basically controls like the low end response of the amp. I like pushing it up. I feel like this amp compared to other amps, like in the Arc, for example, where it's very, very saturated, very flubby. I feel like this one almost needed the extra push and needed the extra flubbiness. So as you can see, that's why I've turned gain up, turned bass a little bit up, and then turned depth up just a little bit. Presence I've kept in the middle. Master I have turned down just to make it seem a little bit cleaner. Cab section, as I mentioned before, is on. The output is dead straight. I haven't touched that at all. And as you can see, that's how easy it is to make a tone. If you've watched any of my other videos and any of the other amps plugins, I'll say the same thing over and over. The whole point about these plugins is so that you don't get lost in the settings and that you don't get just lost dialing in everything for 10 minutes. You can literally just load it up, tweak a few knobs, and maybe put an overdrive on, and that's it. The cab sounds amazing, the amp sounds amazing. In 2 minutes, you have a mix ready tone, and it sounds really, really good. So going to the super section of the amp, I have turned the noise gate on just so you guys don't get the hiss in the background, but What this amp does is basically focuses on more like low driven tones, whereas the Duper is like super high gain if you want it to be. So with the Super, the first thing that you get, but it's very reactive to your playing, which I really like. Super low gain is a really nice preset on the Super amp, and when you put the split coil setting on your guitar, if you have one, it sounds super nice. Super nice. The Super lead preset is really nice on the Super amp. It's not as saturated as the Duper lead preset, which I'll go through in a little bit, but going back to the Super one, it sounds really nice, and it gets really articulate, so if you mess up, you'll definitely hear it, especially with reverb and delay, but it does sound really nice. You can also get a really crunchy sound out of it with the Super Crunch preset, which is really nice. As you can see, mids are pushed all the way up. So now going on to the Duper amp, which is probably my favorite out of the two. As you can see, it has a gent preset, which is what I base my preset off of, but it sounds really good just as a preset. The Duper ambience preset, which is really nice, and what I use this for is kind of if you have a rhythm section going and you want like a backing lead, not so much a lead, but you just kind of want, like, as what it says, like an ambient kind of thing happening in the background, just a couple picked notes, you can do that. And kind of just let that wash out over your rhythm guitars. Duper Metal, which is similar to the gent, but it's not as saturated and kind of cuts off a little bit quicker, but still sounds really nice and articulate. And then last but not least, the Duper lead preset, which in my opinion, compared to the Super lead preset on the Super amp, is a little bit more saturated, a little bit fatter sounding, and generally more pleasing to the ear. As you can see, this plugin is really versatile and gets you all the sounds that a modern metal guitarist would want. Anything from low driven tones to nice split coily tones to even really saturated leads and high gain rhythm tones. Personally, this is my favorite between all the MLSoundLab plugins that they've released so far, and I really enjoy the way this sounds. And that's it. So as you can tell, yet again from MLSoundLab, it's extremely easy to use, extremely easy to navigate, and sounds absolutely stellar. It can get you any tone you want, from low gain to high gain rhythm tone. This is my favorite so far. I haven't stopped playing it since I got it. But until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Patreon's in the description, socials in the description. I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.